Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your Sheffield Wednesday versus Leeds United preview. It's Friday night football. It's a game that Leeds must win, and of course it's a game that Sheffield Wednesday have to win in order to stave off relegation. They've given themselves a real chance. Danny Rohl's coming in October, got them playing some good stuff, and they're unbeaten in 4 now, so trust me when I say this is not going to be easy. As a Leeds United fan, I am very worried about this game. It's one that I just want to get out of. Like, get me away from Hillsborough. Listen, people won't want to hear it, but a point might not even be such a bad result considering their form. Of course, I want us to win the game. But as I say, at home this season, they haven't lost in 4. Winning 3 and drawing 1. I think the last time they tasted defeat at Hillsborough was back in January. He's got them playing some decent stuff. 5-4-1 of late, more recently, which of course means a low block, which of course means Leeds United are going to need to be at their best in order to break this down. They've got some great players in form. Ugbo up top, Will Vaulks, Barry Bannon back to his best, Iorfa at the back. So believe me when I say league position in this game, anyway, regardless of form, wouldn't really matter because it's a Yorkshire derby and Sheffield Wednesday will, of course, be up for this game. I would say for me, anyway, out of all the Yorkshire clubs, this is the one really that carries the most bit of needle for me. Anyway, I don't know what you folks think. I know Huddersfield like to think, but nah. I think for me, out of all the Yorkshire side, I don't even mind, and Wednesday fans watching this might not like me for this, I don't actually mind the Blades, but there's something about Sheffield Wednesday, there's that little bit of needle. Probably dates back to Dave Jones and all that sort of stuff. Well, it dates further back than that. You get it. You know, we don't like each other, but yeah, this one does carry a bit of needle. They'll be well up for it. It'll be packed out. Leeds United fans will travel in their droves, but I think it's such a big game for both sides. I believe if Sheffield Wednesday win, they'll be out of the relegation zone. Could well be the first time they're out of the relegation zone since the turn of the season, or maybe even a point gets them out, but they will want to win. And of course, if Leeds United win, it puts us back in second place going into the weekend and then puts pressure back on your Ipswich's, your Southamptons, your Leicesters, etc. So it is such a huge game. It's one that I am looking forward for, of course, but I'm very nervous. Don't want to lose. Could I see us losing? Potentially. I genuinely think this game won't be a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. We have to score first. We must score first. If we don't score first, the evening could be long. Look, Danny Rohl has to take all the plaudits for this, not the owner. We all know he's as mad as a box of frogs. I guess you've got to give him a little bit of credit for bringing him in. But Danny Rohl's come in and has decent pedigree, much like Brighton Reiner at Huddersfield. Another German coach, has worked at Leipzig as a coach, Southampton, probably under Ralph Hasenhüttl, Bayern Munich. So he's got decent stock preparing him for this role, and he's done a great job. Since he came in October. Maybe it took a while to get them ticking over. As I say, they lost to Watford, I think, on their first game. I speak to Ash from the Wednesday week regularly, and he's only ever said positive things about Danny Rohl, and we're seeing now the fruits of his labour come the end of the season with, 4 wins on the spin. It goes deeper than that as well, because forget about the 4 wins on a spin. They've only had 1 defeat now in the last 8 competitive home outings, winning 5, drawing 2. So they're on a decent roll right now. The facts are as well, people, that Sheffield Wednesday have a decent record at Hillsborough against Leeds United as well. They remain unbeaten across the last 3 home head-to-heads, winning 1, drawing 2. The more I think about it, of course, Leeds United have been imperious this season going forward defensively. But the more I think about it, I don't even actually think a point's that bad a result of away at Hillsborough. In the context of the season, of course, people will have meltdowns and stuff like that. But there's going to be many more twists and turns yet. Of course, I want us to win the game. But I guess, no, I'm talking rubbish. I guess if we did drop points here, it would be really bad because of where we are in the season. Obviously, only 10 games left to go. Maybe earlier on in the season, it's not such a bad point considering the form they're on. But yeah, I guess we do have to win. And look, if we are to win, then we need to be great at the back. We do have to keep Ugbo quiet. because he's in decent form right now. I think across his last 6 appearances during midweek games, I think he's got like 7 goal contributions, something like that. He's in hot form right now, so we need to make sure that we're imperious at the back. You know, Leeds United have been great at the back of late because 6 of our last 7 wins now have come without a reply. You know, defensively, we're up there. I think there's only one keeper that maybe has more clean sheets than Ilya Melier this season, and that's the West Brom keeper. As well as mentioning Ogbo, we're going to have to talk about the midfield as well. Who can remember Will Volks? I remember Will Volks scoring a screamer against Leeds United, or it may have been in the Bielsa season when he played for Rotherham, where that keeper pulled off an amazing save, if you remember. But he's been influential in the turnaround, you know. As I said, the last 4 games now have been 5-4-1, and Barry Bannon and Will Volks have been at the heartbeat of that midfield. So we need to make sure that we win that battle, whether or not that's Gray and Gruyev or it's Kamara and Gruyev. I'm thinking Gray goes into midfield, but he will need to be on it because he's up against 2 very experienced pros there. I don't think you can get more experience than Barry Bannon, you know. He now, unlike under Moore and previous manager, his game suits Danny Rohl kind of football, you know. He's starting to look like his best self again. And when he is good and when he is on it, there ain't many better. I think he's so silky. He's got a great delivery. We can't be giving away silly free kicks, which is what we've done too often, because when we are conceding goals, they tend not to be from open play, folks. They've been from set pieces, getting beat in the air, defenders not tracking runners, etc. So we need to ensure that isn't something we gift Wednesday, because Barry Bannon can hit a free kick, can deliver a ball. So for me, free kicks, corners, to a minimum, please, Leeds United. No silly fouls. One player who will be a big miss, obviously, Ian Carlo Poveda, formerly of Leeds United, on loan from Leeds, cannot play in this game. He's been playing off the right recently. Very good signing for them. I think he's already played as many times as he had done for Leeds this season since joining, since January. 7 games in total, starting 6 of them. And has been instrumental, really, in their turnaround as well. A good player. Look, not good enough for Leeds. I'm not rewriting history. I had some people say, oh, it's another one we've let go away. It's like, no, that's Sheffield Wednesday. They're at the bottom of the league. Like, let's be realistic here. He was never getting into our side. Wasn't good enough to get into our side and had ample opportunities to prove that. Bielsa gave him, I think, a debut in the Cup years ago. So he has been here long enough and he just hasn't taken his chance. But thankfully, anyway, it's irrelevant because he can't play for Sheffield Wednesday on Friday night. Another thing I want to mention as well is normally I champion our fitness, our will to go to the final minutes. And I'm not discrediting that now. But what I will say, one thing that Danny Rohl has brought in at Sheffield Wednesday is a similar sort of ethos. It's something that German coaches pride themselves on. We've seen it with Klopp. We've seen it with Brighton Reiner more recently. Under Rohl's guidance, Sheffield Wednesday have shown a trend of goals late on in games and strong finishes. So know that we need to be on this from minute 1 all the way up to minute 90. And that we need to ensure that Farke uses his subs as well, which we have been seeing of late. I know people still try find sticks to beat him with. Look, I've discussed the Joseph Bamford stuff. Bamford starts for me, but, you know, Joseph will be brought on at some point during the game, and he needs to be brought on to make sure that he is constantly pressing that back 3 that will be there. Any other subs that get brought on, Pirro, I was happy with when he came on midweek against Stoke. More of that, please. You know, do you bring on Nonto if Somerville's not at the races? Because he hasn't been of late. I like the sub that he said, you know, Somerville, you're not exempt from a substitution. He would rather keep James on. James is going to be key in this game as well. He's the sort of player that can just run for 90 minutes on the left or on the right. And I do just want to hone in on Dan James for a second, because he's scored in like 12 games this season, there or thereabouts, and in every single game we've won. So as important as that first goal will be, Dan James has to be the scorer of it as well. Like, as Dan James scores and we score first, it's cool, we'll win. Dan James was great the other night, and he's rightfully took that place back off Nonto. He's been in scintillating form for us this season, and I really think he's a player that will cause problems, even from pressing, getting in behind, etc. Just make sure we get it down the right as often as possible, because sometimes, if we are struggling against a low block, we just seem to want to funnel it to Somerville all the time. So, you know, Dan James has to be involved. Before we finish up as well, Daniel Farke has a really, really good record against Sheffield Wednesday, so take some positives with that. He's unbeaten in all but one of his last 7 games against them. Look, historically, more recent history, Sheffield Wednesday better us at Hillsborough. Farke has a decent record. I think it's going to be a very tough game for Leeds, a very hard place for us to go. Crowd that'll be baying for blood, bouncing from the off. Team that's in great form, like Leeds United, as I say, 1-4 on the spin. We're a little bit patchy. We seem a little bit leggy. They've also played midweek, but Leeds United have played a hell of a lot of football of late. The best players really need to turn up. Can we put enough faith that Rutter and Somerville are going to be back to the best? I'm not sure. I will say for Millwall, I think we'll be in much better shape just because we'll have like 8 or 9 days off. We need that. I can't wait for this international break for this squad, all told. But with all things considered, and I know people won't want to hear it, I think we draw the game. I do. I think it's going to be 1-1. I'd love a 2-1 Leeds United, but I just can't see past the draw. And it wouldn't surprise me if we did get beat. Genuinely. Is that really negative? I'm not sure. I just think it's going to be a really tough place for us to go. Historically, it is. They're flying. They're going to be up for it. We've seen what Huddersfield did. I think it's another draw, folks. 1-1. Sorry. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.